certainly I'm here, as everybody is here, to support this program because I see it as, this is an important day in Ontario and it's an important step we are taking. And you heard the essential elements of this. It's a farmer-created, farmer-led initiative to improve the stewardship of the land and to change, in fact, the way we look at the land and manage the land. And you heard the different characteristics. I'm just going to give you a few ideas by way of wrapping up, a few ideas of the way I look at it, maybe going forward, because I think this is something that's, we're struggling now. You said it's you didn't get as much money as you thought to start off as big a scale, but I think it's coming. I don't think that's a problem. Just keep pushing, keep slugging, because this is the future. And here's how I see it going. I see sort of 3 points around this whole idea of ecological goods and services, and it's critically important. The first point is that here's a mechanism that allows non-farm / urban people to contribute to producing ecological services on the land. We were absent that mechanism. I work all the time with all sorts of environmental activists and groups in the city of Toronto, and there is a disjunction between those people who are really trying to do the same thing and you people who are on the land and control of the land. Now there's a mechanism. And I see it expanding. I see it, I see absolutely that it's important to contribute to the lands and do the things during on their farm. But I also see that somebody should be paying for the trees, not the land, not just the land you're farming. There should be some other kind of program or mechanism to keep when you've set aside those trees and set aside those forests, they're producing tremendous ecological services, goods and services, and we should find a mechanism to make sure that those are supported as well for the very same reasons, to continue them. And I don't see a big problem. Some people say, it's an unusual idea. What, we're paying for trees that are already there? Yeah, sure. It's, we see nothing wrong with paying to maintain infrastructure in the cities. My gosh, parking lots, asphalt parking lots. We pay every few years to maintain that infrastructure. But what, we can't pay to maintain our ecological infrastructure? What's wrong with that concept? Surely in fact, it's even cheaper to maintain than it is than an asphalt parking lot. So I don't see it as a foreign concept. I think you're building this idea into society. You're opening up people's minds that, yeah, we want this stuff. It is our infrastructure, and we should be paying in some way, shape, or form. Let's work out how. Another big point here is that this whole approach undermines, which I see as a big problem, which is the short-term economic thinking that has become pervasive in our society. And certainly you farmers know that you're trapped in these short-term economic cycles, but so is everybody else. So is industry, so is, it's widespread that we've lost our ability to think long-term. And just implicit in what you're doing here is built-in long-term thinking, which is the very essence of sustainability. Long-term thinking, establishing, working in the long term. This is really a good thing, a good way to help change. So again, the right kind of thing. And the third big thing I think is that it is another problem we face, and Steve Peters touched on this. He talked about the silos of government and breaking down silos, and I phrase that differently. I say it's this is going to change the paradigm of government and how government thinks about the land and the activity of agriculture, the activity of conservation, and because we'll break that down. By its very nature, we've got, I notice M&Rs over there with wetlands restoration built within a drainage program. That's the kind of new thinking. Pleased to see that, by the way. It's the kind of new thinking and the kind of breakdown and expansion. So we think about the land in a different way. Right now the Ministry of Municipal Affairs sees the land as units or chunks of land to be developed and highways and that sort of stuff. And the Agricultural Association is starting to say, my God, we've got to keep some of this farmland in farms, and they see the land differently. Well, why can't we come on to a common vision of the land? And we know we have to produce food, we know we have to have some living space, and we know we have to have a living ecological landscape that provides us all kind of services. So helps to break down those things. These are the real long-term benefits of Alice and where we're going with this. And it really is a wonderful thing. But just lastly, because I don't want to keep it too long, but I guess it rings this productive agriculture in harmony with the natural systems. What really rings true for me, and I've been around the game for a long time. I joined the public service 27 years ago, and I was working in environmental stuff before that. And I remember a different Ontario than the one I've lived in the last few years. And I remember an Ontario that it was full of the spirit of innovation and addressed public problems, forthrightly, and then tried to make it a better place for our children. And I don't know, my sense is we've lost some of that. We're just caught up in the rat race of life, and recently it frustrates me as Environmental Commissioner that we're not as innovative, we're not as problem solving. But here's a program. It's come not from the government, not mandated from the top, come from the people, come from the land, that says, well, we're going to tackle this kind of what we see as a problem. We're going to make things better. We're going to innovate. We're going to do things we've never done before. And I think that's just a wonderful thing to see in Ontario again. And I wish you Godspeed and every success. And thank you for doing this. And know that you got my support.